Lois Gast has been indispensable to all of us who are not only part of the Strategic Management Society, but part of the SMS journals. It is my great pleasure to talk with Lois today, reflecting on the last several years that she has spent with us, share her experiences with us as authors, as reviewers, as editors, and also a few funny stories that she may have at Boots. So Lois, I can't even imagine, Lois, that, I can't imagine SMS journals without you, because ever since I've been associated with it, you're the one that I counted on as an author, as an editor, an associate editor, now as a co-editor. But let me ask you this, what was your first day like?
I was overwhelmed. I had worked on 2 other journals before I started with SMJ. But SMJ was not online, and there was just
now, this was the pre-internet days, right?
Yes. Before internet, and even it had not even things hadn't been done by email. Everything was just done by regular mail, and that's when the days when the authors would have to send in 4 copies, and reviews were sent out by mail.
Yes.
But when I came on board, this is something we wanted to change. So we worked to that point, and when I started sending reviews out by email, people were really surprised that we were updating, and it worked out very well. And,
yes.
But it's been a progression through 9 years.
So for sure, I mean, one of the things you had to do as a managing editor as you're adapting to the new technologies, changing a lot of processes along the way. So what do you think was your most fun day?
Well, it's always fun to have tell someone that their paper is accepted.
Oh yes,
that's whenever I send out that letter, just telling them what processes they have to follow. But then I just know this family is going to have a celebration tonight. It's going to make a difference for them. And it's just fun to make people happy.
Yeah. Do you remember any authors emailing you back? What are the content of that email?
Well, many would be, they were just so excited to have a paper, perhaps somebody who's tried for quite a while.
Yes.
And they were just so, it made such a difference to them. Yes. So it was always fun to be the
and as an author, I sure can appreciate that you personally take a lot of joy in seeing papers accepted. All too often, people think that at these journals we're there to reject, and we're delivering bad news too.
Right.
What is a day that you didn't enjoy? What was in some sense your worst day?
I mean, the SMJ has been such a joy for me, but the worst day that I can remember working on the journal was when we found out that Mary Lou Shandell died. Yeah. That was just for the family, the SMS family. Everyone was so close to her, and the journal meant so much to her that many people contacted me just because they wanted to have that connection with the journal again, and just to let me know how much Mary Lou meant to them. So that was a hard day to work on the journal, knowing that she put in. She was the managing editor for 25 years and did all the copy editing. And without her, the journal would certainly not be where we are today.
Yeah. So you talked about what you enjoyed the most, sending acceptance letters.
Right.
What do you dread the most, Lois?
The part of the job that's most difficult are Monday mornings.
Monday mornings.
I would always have over 100 emails every Monday, and I knew I was going to have that. But that's when the authors and the editors and the reviewers do their work. It's over the weekends. That's when they have time. And my mailbox was always full on Monday morning, so I could always expect to be very busy on Monday, and then the rest of the week you caught up. But Mondays were...
So Fridays are good.
Fridays are good. Fridays are good.
Okay. Yes.
But just keeping up with everything. Mondays were difficult.
Yeah. So Lois, you've been coming to the conferences, meeting all of the people that you're emailing back and forth, and you get to know their personalities both by mail and in the conference. Is there any one conference or one event that stands out for you as particularly memorable?
At a conference.
Yes.
Okay. The first conference that I went to, which was 2005, which was the Orlando Hurricane Conference.
Oh, yes.
And that was the first one I went to. And I can remember standing at the doorway, watching the wind and the trees bending over. And that was a sort of a difficult conference.
And that was your first conference.
And that was my first exposure.
Well, welcome,
first time I met everybody.
Lois, to SMS.
Yes.
What a welcome.
And they, the shuffling they had to do because so many people had canceled out. So there was a lot of things going on. But I was taken around to meet everyone, and there's just so many names and faces. But so I know what Sarah's going through. But it was fun still. It was very memorable.
Yes.
And then my next conference was in Vienna, the 2006, and my luggage didn't arrive.
So you've had one after the other really good SMS conference experiences.
That experience was interesting. You know, I knew a lot more names that year, and that was fun. And Vienna was wonderful, but to figure out how to survive for the week without having your luggage was an experience. But they had a good gift shop that had clothes in it, which helped. But I learned how to also pack. You take some things in your carry-on.
Yeah. Exactly.
It helped
you
me.
Learned that.
It helped me.
So 2005, Hurricane Orlando. 2006, no clothes, no luggage in Vienna. And then 2007 was the first SEJ conference. I recall that being with you.
Right, yes.
Yes. I mean, is there anything that you'd remember of that very next conference?
Yes, the SEJ, it was our kickoff conference, and it was so much fun. Meeting all the entrepreneurship people. There was just a little bit different audience, and you know, everyone is so nice, but they were so eager, and just there was such a warm camaraderie at that conference because everybody was so they worked together to really make this a successful journal, and it was just it was in Chicago at the McDonald's campus.
I remember that.
Yes, which was an interesting venue, really a neat place. And we had it was great, the papers that were being presented, and it was enjoyable meeting everyone. That night, there was a fire alarm pulled in the middle of the night, and all of us we had to go outside. And many people in their night clothes, standing outside. And
I do remember that.
And it was slightly raining, and I can remember standing sort of under the eaves by Arnie Cooper, who I'm at Purdue, and he was at Purdue, and talking about this journal and how excited he was also about this new venture. So those are all such warm, good memories,
very good memories
of how that journal started, and just. We were all so happy to see it getting such a positive send-off.
Yeah. What are you going to miss most, Lois?
Well,
I mean, I know what I'm going to miss about you. I mean, as a co-editor, as an author, I have come to rely on you so much for all of the efficient, nice, professional way in which you handle things. What are you going to miss?
Well, I have to say I'm going to miss the editors and the associate editors the most. I mean, I love authors and the reviewers. They've been wonderful. But this group of editors and associate editors for all three journals, the SMJ, SEJ, and GSJ, are just such an exceptional people. And they give their time. I don't think people understand how much time it really takes to make these journals happen. And I counted, we have 49 editors and associate editors for these three journals that we're working with them. But they are just all, we're just so lucky to have these people working on the journals. It's They're amazing, and these are people I email daily. They've been part of my lives, so I'm gonna miss that.
Well, I can say this for sure on behalf of all of these 48, 49 editors. I'm just one voice, but I know that all of us are extremely grateful, Lois, for everything that you've done.
Well,
so what are you going to look forward to? I mean, now you're retiring.
Right.
What's ahead?
I'm going to do all those things I said I'll do that when I retire.
So what's your bucket list?
So, yes, right. But I'll be able to spend more time with my family.
Yes.
And my husband and I, we want to travel. We do some traveling. He's not an international traveler, so I may miss that, but I have a daughter who likes to travel with me internationally. But there's a lot of things in the United States that we want to do. And I have a couple volunteer projects that I want to work on, so I plan to keep very busy.
Well, Lois, thank you so much for everything that you've done.
It's been my pleasure. I feel like I've been the luckiest person because I've had this opportunity to work with the journals.
Thank you again, and we miss you, and I'm sure that both of us are looking forward for Sarah taking over. She's got some big shoes to fill, and thank you so much for helping in that transition, too.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes.